Hi guys, welcome to another video on this channel. So today we're doing something a bit different and we're talking about how to land your first graduate role. Now, I luckily got a graduate role, praise be to God, in 2023 at Vodafone. So this was in the tech scheme, which is a 2-year scheme where you can pick between different kind of streams within the organisation, and I ended up on the networking stream, and I've made a video about what network engineers do and what a day in the life was like in my experience there. So if you're interested, go ahead and look at my channel and see what that's like. However, today we're going to be speaking about how I got the role in the first place with my CV. So here are 5 tips I used that helped me get my first job with my CV. Okay, so tip number 1 may sound very obvious, but a lot of people miss this, which is focus on what they want. Now, it's going to sound so obvious when I say this, but for example, if a job is asking in the job description, that they want someone with coding skills, maybe they want you to know Python, you need to make sure that on your CV you write that you have Python. If they say they want someone with a strategic thinking, you need to use those exact same words, strategic thinking, in your CV. So basically, whatever they are asking for in their job description, you need to basically have it in your CV. And the reason why I keep shouting when I say job description is because from speaking to people who I've helped get a job through looking at their CVs, people do not often spend enough time looking at the job description. This is the key thing that a lot of students especially miss when writing their CV. You 100% need to spend at least some time reading through the job description to the point where if someone asks you, tell me about this job, you should be able to know. Okay, if you're just applying for jobs and you don't even know the job description, you may even end up applying for a job that you don't like. So make sure you understand the job in general by spending a good amount of time in the job description. Furthermore, make sure you highlight the key skills they want and mirror it in your CV. Number 2. Okay, now this is a bit of a hot take, but you do hear a lot of people say quality over quantity, in the sense that it's maybe better for you to apply for 2 or 3 jobs rather than apply for hundreds and hundreds of jobs. Now, I have a slightly hot take to this. My take is you should use quantity and quality. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, let's say you're looking for a job and you're applying roughly for 20 jobs a day. So 20 jobs a day, probably you're just kind of clicking, and you're sending the same general CV to everyone. My advice, and what I actually did as well, is to still have that general CV and send it to about 10 different companies, right? I think that is actually effective in some regards, but it's a bit kind of like low rewards, low risk, low rewards kind of thing. Like it could happen, but you're still kind of taking a risk. I think though it's still worth doing that. That being said, instead of maybe doing sending 20 CVs a day, I think maybe send 10 general CVs a day and pick 3 or 4 companies per day that are your favourite, that you think you would enjoy the job the most and you think you have a better chance at getting at. Now, out of those 3 and 4 jobs, spend slightly more time, because at the end of the day, when you're sending your CV, this is still the first stage. So I wouldn't recommend spending loads of time at this stage, but I do think spending the extra 10 minutes per those 3 top choices goes a long way. So these top 3 choices, you want to tailor, again, using step number 1, tailoring it to match exactly what they want. Spend time researching the company. What do they do? Look at the news. What big developments have the company done? What are the big projects they're working on? What are the company values? These are things that you should do for 2 or 3 or 4 companies per day, rather than kind of just applying for loads of companies. So I hope that makes sense. So in summary, my advice when it comes to quality versus quantity is to do a bit of both. Where I'll say, instead of maybe applying for 20 random jobs a day with like 20 very shallow CVs, that maybe the exact same CVs to 20 companies, I would say maybe pick 10 and apply to 10 with that general CV, and pick maybe 3 companies that you really like and tailor it to them. So that way you're getting kind of the best of both worlds. You're not burning out and you're not exhausting yourself, but you're still having that focused, dedicated, targeted application sent to those companies that you actually want the most. Tip number 3, the no experience dilemma. Now, I've actually helped quite a few students land or secure some sort of opportunity, be it a spring week, be it an internship, be it a grad role. And one of the biggest problems a lot of students have is, how am I supposed to apply for a job, an entry-level job or a grad role job, when I have no experience? Now, this is really an interesting topic, and it's obviously something I struggled with as well. And how I came over it is by being very creative. At the end of the day, if you're applying for an entry-level role or a grad role, they don't expect you to have loads and loads of experience. So what do you write on your CV? On your CV, you have to use any sort of experience that you have, any, and I mean any sort of experience that you have, and tailor it to what they want. So kind of link it back to tip 1, which is focus on what they want. With tip 3, look at the skills they want in their job description and pick out any activities that you've done that really highlights the skills. Now, this could be a project that you've done. This could be a side project that you've done. This could be you building, this is obviously engineering, right? So this could be you building a make-do calculator, or it may have been a very small computer-aided design project. Whatever it is, maybe something you did within your degree, maybe something you did outside of your degree, maybe something you did in a society. These are all great examples of at least some work experience. Another thing that people miss is insight days or spring weeks. These opportunities that are normally quite easy to find are opportunities where you basically go to a company for one day and you speak about what the company does. This counts at this stage as work experience. This is as good as work experience as you get. And it's all about tailoring it so that it matches the skills that the company wants, okay? And if you're thinking, I have done no insight days, I don't have any projects to talk about, I don't have any skills, I haven't got any experiences at all, because of how entry level this is, you can probably start now. You can literally start right now. So let's say you need to get a job within 2 months. You can start on a 1-month project right now. It's not that hard. It could take you maybe like 5 hours. If you put in an hour a week or so, you can at least have something to say. So it's not impossible. It's just all about being creative. And if you're struggling on how to actually be creative, you want more practical tips, please stay to the end. I have a cheeky gift for you that can really help you turn those experiences into something you can write on your CV. Tip number 4, get out of the student mindset. Now, this is one of my favourite advice, because I feel like a lot of students that I've helped get roles, including myself, we're very fixated on things that I feel like the education system has made us feel like is really important, right? Like, obviously, you go to uni or you whatever stage you're at, and you want to do really well, and you think that this is really, really important, or you're really proud of the qualifications, your GCSEs, your A-levels, whatever you're doing in your degree, you think that this is the most important thing. Honestly, it is important, because you need to, like, some jobs, they require you to have a certain level of education or qualification. However, you need to think like the business or the company. This is only one part, okay? So your GCSEs and A-levels should basically take up 1 line each. It should be a very quick summary. This is no longer the most relevant thing if you're trying to apply for your first entry-level role. They're more fixated on your skills and experiences, right? So you don't need to tell them, like, you don't need to make a whole section just for education. It should be 2 or 3 lines. When it comes to your degree, I would recommend only highlighting the modules that are very relevant to the specific job you're applying for. Okay, so you don't need to have every single module down. You don't need to have a very detailed description of every single thing. It's not relevant to them, okay? This is you thinking like a student, but the studenthood has ended, okay? What's more important is keeping it relevant to the job, which is kind of back to tip number one. Keep it focused. Focus on what they want. Focus on what skills they want and try and highlight what your education does align with that. Another thing is, I feel like in the education system, a lot of people are kind of programmed to think the more that you have, the better it is. And that extends to your CV. A lot of people think that a longer CV that's 2 or 3 pages is definitely going to be better than a 1 page CV. Absolutely not. Okay? It is way better to have a CV that is 1 page, at most 1.5. Your CV does not need to be longer than that. Honestly, speaking to some recruiters, they do not have time and to kind of go through a really long CV. They won't read everything. They're more likely to read your CV, and it's more likely to have an impact if it's short, concise, clean, and very punchy. That's what will make your CV stand out compared to someone who has loads and loads and loads and loads trying to fit in everything. No, put in what they want. What skills are they looking for? That's what you need to put in, and everything else kind of chop it out or at least summarize it. So I feel like that is the kind of the student mindset that the more words you have, the more good it is. Absolutely not. When it comes to your CV, keep it 1 page. And if you need guidance for that, I've got something at the end that can help you with that. Okay, so tip number 5, our final tip, is keep it professional. So this is another thing that's very linked to tip number 4, that a lot of students may not necessarily be very inclined to or immediately think about. At the end of the day, you are applying for a company. This is a business, and they want you to know that this isn't, a coursework. This isn't an assignment. You're joining a company that wants to make money, that probably has competitors, and you probably have clients. So it's really important that you vocalize this even from the beginning of your CV, but especially if you go later on to the interview stage. These are the kind of things that will stand out. So a lot of students don't think about this. So if you do think about this, it can really make you stand out. So what you want to use in your CV are terms like clients. I want to align with the business goals. I want to align with the business values. I want to help the company meet its business objectives. These kind of terms help show you have some sort of commercial awareness or business awareness, and it shows that you're thinking about the company as a whole rather than I just need to get this job. Okay, they want you to understand that this is a company. There's a lot of things happening, and at the end of the day, you're here to bring value. You're here to make the company more valuable with your skills and your time, and using this type of terminology kind of shows that. Another thing as well on this topic is companies' values. Now, this has to be one of the most underrated things ever when it comes to CVs, even cover letters, applications, interviews, the company's values. Oh my days. So, most companies, if not all, have these values that they take very seriously. Okay, so these values are normally very popular buzzwords like enthusiasm, teamwork, reliability, agility, diversity. Every company has like some combination of these 4 or 5 words, and it's normally on their company website. It's very easy to access. But if you put those words in your CV, in your cover letter, your application, it can really make you stand out. Some of these recruiters or people who work in HR are literally looking for this. They are literally looking for these words in your CV. So it's very important that you have at least some sort of awareness and try and integrate it into your CV. Even highlight it if you can. Make them know that you really understand the company as a whole, that you're thinking like a professional, and that you really align with the business. Okay, so those are my 5 tips. I really hope they were really useful, and if you made it here, please subscribe. It will mean a lot. Now, As I said before, I do have an extra cheeky gift for anyone who needs a bit of extra help or who wants more concrete examples or tangible advice. I have actually written a cover guide slash and a CV guide which are completely free that you can find in my description box. The links are there. You can copy and paste it into a browser, or you can just go in my link tree and look for go on my link tree and find career resources, and then you will find a free CV guide and a free cover letter guide. In here, I basically summarize and not summarize, expand on everything I've said in this video and with more clear examples. And I've used the tips and everything I've said in more detail. So hopefully it's going to be very useful. You can see that feedback on there is already very positive. And also there you can find a LinkedIn guide, which you can buy for a very good price as well. But the CV guide and the cover letter guide are completely free. And I really hope that you found this video really useful. Let me know if there's something else that you really are curious about, because I'll be happy to make another video. And most importantly, please don't forget to subscribe and share this to anyone else who you think may find this beneficial. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.